you guys already know this the main one tapping in all the way from H-Town, Houston, Texas. I'm here with my boy T.A.G.
T.A.G.
T.A.G sucks.
T.A.G, very nice, very evil.
T.A.G's gonna kill you.
That's T.A.G shit.
Whose house? T.A.G's house, baby.
The only thing we're gonna do is take over, baby.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Free fall as I dive through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama.
What up, and what up, T.A.G Nation? I know. It's been 2 weeks. Did you miss me? I hope so, because I'm back with another edition of the NXT.A.G. And, we got a little bit to talk about. But let's go ahead and just go through the show. The show opens up with this 6-man tag. Dark State taking on Saquon Sugars, Noam Dar, and Romeo Moreno. So pretty much the 6-man tag was going to happen all last week. Saquon was trying to find partners. Romeo and Noam was kind of there. And in essence, he took advantage. Romeo was more excited to take the match because he wanted to prove himself. He wanted to prove him and Noam as a tag team. So what better way to join this match? It was a match. It was cool. I mean, the highlights came at the end when Saquon had Dion and hit him with a Death Valley driver through that little wall. And then it turned into a tag team match where Cutler and Osiris end up beating Noam and Romeo. So that was pretty much that, if we're being honest. Then we move on to a segment where Kendall Gray is in the ring and pretty much Lola comes out and they're trading bars back and forth. Pretty much Lola is like, you beat me. I did get the rematch, but you beat me that one time. You're not going to beat me again. Kendall was like, yeah, whatever. But, they're just trading stuff back and forth. Well, it led to Lola pretty much saying, you beat me in a wrestling match, but can you beat me in a fight? And Kendall was like, oh, if you pretty much saying what I think you saying, then yeah. So pretty much Lola challenged Kendall to an NXT women's tag match in 2 weeks, NXT Underground. So, of course, this boasts a match that Lola has never lost. So we shall see. We shall see if this is going to be Lola's first Underground she's going to lose, or if she's going to get that title up off of Kendall. So we'll see in 2 weeks. And that was pretty much that segment. Then we move on to Hank Walker taking on Keanu Carver. Great American Bash. A commotion happened to where Keanu knocked Hank off a stage into some tables. And finally, Hank is able to get some revenge. He's finally able to kind of get some get back, in essence. Beefy boy brawl between these two. Tank was out there, of course, to support Hank. And due to something happened to where Keanu did something with Tank, then came back and beat up Hank, but ultimately Keanu gets the dub. And when he gets the dub, he was trying to still beat up on Hank and Tank, but then EK Prosper shows up, and then after Prosper shows up, they kind of all three beat up on Keanu to kind of get the ha 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 last laugh kind of situation. So that's ultimately how that ended, with though Hank losing the match, the good guys wind up on top. Pretty much. That's the best way to put it. The good guys wind up on top. No thrills, no frills with that one. Then we pretty much get to a segment backstage. Natty is getting ready for her match against Jada Parker. Earlier in the night, Thea was trying to talk to Stone. Natty barges into the office, basically took over the situation. Her and Thea exchanged words. Her and Thea exchanged words again. And Thea was like, I really hope Jada just kind of pretty much beat her ass kind of situation. Then we go to the commercial break. At the commercial break, we do get a segment where Shiloh went to go see Danhausen because Danhausen is a man about teeth, and Shiloh needs to go see about some new teeth since Tristan Angel stomped out his last teeth. So Shiloh gives Danhausen some Bitcoin to pretty much get him a new tooth, and he gets the new tooth, and as he's walking out, he didn't hear that Danhausen said the tooth is cursed, and it'll kind of pretty much make Shiloh kind of go crazy. It's like go psycho. But he was like, it's not gonna be Danhausen's problem. So more on that later. Then we get to the match. Natty and crew, of course, Carmen Petrovich and the Evolve Women's Champion, because it's not NXT. My apologies. Of course, by her side. And pretty much this was a hard-hitting affair. Jada has been trying to get at Natty since Natty got that dub, and kind of vice versa in its essence. So it was actually not a bad fight. The only issue I had with this fight personally was Jada was working her way to have this match, and I feel like it should have had higher stakes, or it should have been on a better card. Like I don't know, maybe it should have been on a theme show, or I'm not necessarily saying this feud should have lasted a whole month to where they had the blow-off match at Heatwave, but it just didn't feel like, I know the feud isn't over, but it just felt so just okay, they're going at it again, especially after weeks of Jada trying to get back to fight Natty again, and it just felt like, okay, here's a match on the TV. Maybe because we had other matches. I mean, with the main event being for the NXT Championship. I don't know. I could be just off in this. It could be just me. But ultimately, Jada was working at the legs of Natty, and she eventually put Natty in the sharpshooter. And when she had her in the sharpshooter, Carmen and Nikita were playing around with the idea of throwing in the towel. And it was kind of like a, girl, you better not throw in that towel kind of thing. And then we see to where the camera pans over, and then we see Natty's eyes get kind of big. And then there is the towel just comes flying in the ring. Of course, the ref sees the towel because his back is towards the ropes. The ref sees the towel, throws in, boom, Jada's the winner. Then the camera finally pans over, and we see T.A.G took the towel from Carmen and Nikita and threw in the towel. Now, what made it so funny with this, right? Nikita, Carmen had nothing to do with this match. So why they just let Thea take that towel? Like, it wasn't like Thea beat them both up and took the towel. It was like literally they're fighting over the towel. Thea grabs the towel. They stand there and look at her, and she just throws the towel in the ring. And it was like, y'all didn't bother to try to stop her. That just, Nikita, you didn't try to hit her with the championship, or Carmen, you didn't use one of them lethal kicks. And then what's also making it weird, because I'm gonna bring it up later on with a segment. Carmen is part of the Los Perros Del Mar faction in AAA, and it's like you can't keep it's not. It's going to be interesting if in AAA you're going to be a badass kind of thing. But in NXT, it's just, I exist. That's going to be a weird thing, that you're going to be this badass in AAA, but in NXT, I exist to be next to Natty. Yeah, let that sink on in. Then we get a segment with Kalani and Stone, and pretty much Kalani was talking about how the pin shouldn't have counted because the way she was pinned and all of these other things. And Stone was like, the ref's decision is final. Because, you know, Kalani is still trying to get that one-on-one opportunity, which is wild that she has not had a one-on-one opportunity. Then OTM walks up, and this is what I was talking about with the Carmen thing. OTM walks up, and pretty much, I think Stone was trying to tell them possibly an opportunity with tagging and possibly, you know, getting back in that tag team title picture. And then he goes, yeah, and Bronco, we need to talk because, you know, August 30th, we have AAA show and we have Heatwave. And Bronco was like, yeah, but he's like, are you doing this show as a member of the Los Pretos del Mar or OTM? And he was like, okay, well, we need to talk. And then, you know, he kind of gives this look to Lucian, and Lucian was like, well, I guess you'll let me know. So once again, at least Bronco is portrayed as a badass in both. He's a badass in NXT and a badass in AAA. But you can't have Carmen looking doofy in NXT, but then she's gonna be this badass martial arts chick in AAA. That's just me. That's just me. Then we get to our next match. Sean Spears taking on Nico Vance. Of course, Nico and Izzy is still flying the flag of the Cullen. They unceremoniously kicked out Spears, and here we go. Vance was taking advantage most of the match. He pretty much had most of the match done. He pretty much had, you know, it was really giving Nico that showcase more. You know, Spears, you know, they admitted that, you know, Spears said he probably had a couple of years left, so he was trying to help teach the. You could tell this was one of those moments where, you know, we got to let the youngin' shine a little bit kind of situation. So the closing moments was Spears gets upset and grabs the chair that he had at ringside. Then when he gets in the ring and tries to use it, Izzy gets attacked by Lizzie. And as that chaos is happening between Izzy and Lizzie, Spears hits the chair on the ground, throws the chair to Nico. Classic Eddie Guerrero spot. Nico gets disqualified. Sean gets the dub. You know, Spears gets the dub. So I guess we'll see where this goes. Now, I'm wondering, in order to make this culling thing work still, are they planning on adding more members? Are they going to just leave it as Izzy and Nico? Because we're talking about the culling, which is pretty much the quote unquote killing of the week. And it's like, but you're only going to have 2 members? You know, it's like, is that gonna work? I don't think it's gonna work. Next segment. Cam Hendricks is backstage talking to Robert Stone, and Stone was pretty much asking him, you know, how's his knee doing? And Cam and these, you know, my knee is like 66.7% ready. You know, I had a little setback. And that's been his thing. Like, he's been throwing out these numbers like, oh yeah, my knee is like 76.8%. Like, and it's just like, did y'all hear that exasperating sigh? Just, you know, so yeah, that good old exasperated sigh. And then NQC, well, let me put in the cart before the horse. Tavion and Miles walk up to Stone, and it was like, we need to resurrect the NQCC so we can go for the tag team titles. And Cam was like, how y'all gonna go for the tag team titles when he hasn't defended that North American championship? And Stone was like, well, I was gonna give you the a title match, but you apparently not cleared. And he so-called gets a buzzing on his phone, and it was like, hey, your doctor said I'm officially cleared. So the ruling is, if Miles retains, then Miles and Tavion will get a tag team title match against the Vanity Project in 2 weeks. So that's pretty much the going on, is that if Miles retains against Cam, then they get a tag team title match in 2 weeks. So there you go. We get a Reina Volcano segment because she is about to have her debut match, and we're going to get right into it. So Reina Volcano takes care of ScooterRay. Like, it was just a massacre. Like, yeah, Skylar tried. You know, Skylar did some things, but for the most part, yeah, it was a very much so one-sided affair. It was very one-sided. And Reina's finisher is pretty much a modified torture rack called the Natural Disaster. And I'm not mad at it, because she is a powerhouse. And see, this is that weird thing that WWE does, because they get women who are similar, and then it's like, well, what are they going to do type of situation. Meaning that I know that we can get to a point to where we can not have maybe her and Zarya cross paths or something like that. But they get these women, and then what they tend to do is if they feel that if Reina is doing what she needs to do, then it's like, well, any other powerhouse woman can disappear. And I always find that funny when WWE has that logic. That, oh, well, if this one is working out, then hey, we don't need the other one kind of energy. And it's like, I guess. You know, so, but yeah, she wins in grand fashion. And I am going to assume they're going to probably feed her a couple of more opponents until Tatum comes back. And then eventually her and Tatum are going to have the match, since, you know, her debut was beating up on Tatum. So I don't know if they're going to give her and Tatum the heat wave treatment, but I guess we'll see. Then we get one more segment. Shiloh, he's kind of creepily talking to Stone, because Stone is back there trying to eat some chicken. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to eat some popcorn chicken. And and Shiloh is kind of saying, now, if they would have did it differently, they could have did a pretty interesting Obsession-esque type reference. But it was like him kind of standing there, and he's pretty much like, I have this darkness inside of me. And he's pretty much basically saying he needs to take on Tristan. And Stone is like, all right, big dog, like you and Tristan next week. And he's like, okay, cool, because, you know, man. And he was like, oh yeah, how did you know that I like KFC? Like, he kind of snaps back in essence to normal Shiloh, but it could have been a cool Obsession-esque reference if they would have kind of played with the lighting more, personally speaking. Then we get to our main event for the NXT Championship. Tony D defending against Naraku in a street fight. And as soon as the match starts, Naraku hits that boy with a mist, and it's off to the races. They are just going at it. Eventually, Tony D is able to recover, He was able to kind of get some water in his face to where, he can get some of the mist out of his eyes. But they have a pretty nice little back and forth. Now, this is where WWE, it's all-encompassing part, makes things interesting. They bring in Naraku. They pretty much bring him in, letting us know that, hey, Tony D is who you're going to face. And whether they were trying to allude that he was going to win the championship or not, it still kind of gave off the energy that he might win the championship, especially with this being his second attempt in a street fight. So they have the match, and the closing moments was Naraku tried to go for the mist again. Tony D blocks it with like his hands and fingers. And then Tony realizes, oh shit, it's all on my hands. So he rubs it in Naraku's face. He's able to, I think he hits him a couple of times with a kendo stick, takes that kendo stick, low blows him with the kendo stick, going up between his legs and lifting up. Then he hits a dead to rights. I can't remember if he did it off the steel steps or off the middle turnbuckle, but he is a dead to rights to Naraku through the table, gets the dub, and then it's like, so what are we doing with Naraku here? What are we doing with Naraku? Then, as Tony D celebrates, because they were showing Stone throughout the night talking to somebody on the phone. Before the match starts, we see a black SUV shows up. Then Tony D's music gets interrupted, and Mike Santana is officially NXT. We did see that Mike Santana, when he lost at Slammiversary to Nick Nemeth, that he was done in TNA. And hey, right here. So now it kind of makes me wonder, was Naraku at one point was considered to win that championship, but they was like, we possibly got Mike Santana coming, so nah. Or was this always the plan? Because what do you do with Naraku at this point? Okay, yeah, he can go after Miles and possibly get the North American Championship, but that's going to feel, to me, consolation-wise, because he came in already like, I'm winning the NXT Championship. So it's like, well, what do we do with Naraku at this point? Unless Naraku wasn't meant to be on NXT that long and jump to the main roster. I don't know. But hey, welcome Mike Santana to NXT. And with that being said, y'all, that was pretty much NXT for tonight. We have this gap of time because we are building towards Heat Wave, but you have this time until Heat Wave happens that other matches are going to happen, like Lola versus Kendall in the NXT Underground match, which I'm pretty sure is probably going to lead to Kendall retaining and possibly Kalani finally getting her one-on-one title match at Heat Wave. So, we got about a month and a week until Heat Wave. So we'll see what happens and we'll see what goes down. But yeah, NXT as a whole, y'all. I know. Once again, I had a little small hiatus. Hopefully, I'll be back on my semi-regular basis. And, it won't happen again. But thank y'all for tuning in. Whether you love it or hate it, don't forget to rate it thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave all your likes, your comments. Share it with your friends. All that other good stuff. If you hadn't already. And of course, if you hadn't already, tag that subscribe button. Tag that notification bell so you can be notified for when we post all type of goodness on this channel. Shout outs to the brethren, Lip Dizzle, Jaeger Bombastic, juggernaut and your current tag predictions champion, Leo, aka Kicking It with Leo. And until next time, you beautiful people, love yourself, love one another, take care of yourself, and take care of one another. And until next time, don't forget to tag out. Peace.
Free fall as I dive through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama.